Thank you very much, Raji Bihari Prabhu. Before we begin, I'd just like to cover a couple of points. I was really thrilled being here and just being a part of what Romapad Maharaj has arranged. I wanted to thank him. Just absolutely wonderful. I'd like to just, somebody straighten this? Okay, good, thank you. I'd like to just spin just a bit on Maharaj's story. If you recall, he spoke about, there's a lot of feedback, yeah, okay, how Devamrita Maharaj gave a seminar at the ILS, and you're still working on the feedback, yeah? Okay, thank you. So, how many people directly know what the ILS is all about? Okay. ILS stands for ISKCON Leadership Sangha. Our first one was in 2012. We had 550 leaders from throughout the world come. We had 13 different venues and 45 different seminars over an 8-day period of time associated with all of the GBC, and really had a great time. At the end of that 8 days, we asked if they wanted to have another one, and unanimous raised their hands, so we held one in 2014. 1,300 leaders from throughout the world came for this 8-day Sangha. So we'll have another one coming up on in February. The specific dates I'm not 100% positive on, 2016. And the seminar preparations for what we're doing right now just seem to me to be super fantastic. Each one of these has been better and better. So if you consider yourself a leader, and a leader being defined as a temple president, a project leader, if you're out giving shelter to others, if you're in charge of a project, get in touch with Romapad Maharaj or stay awake to the announcements that you'll start seeing in June and July, and in your mind, consider coming. It's really fantastic. So I thought to pitch the ILS just because Maharaj was bringing it up. In a moment, as soon as I'm done explaining this, I'm going to be asking you a question. And what I'd like you to do is just grab hold of, once I ask that question, just grab hold of the first thing that comes to your mind. And then lock on to that, and then I'll be following that question, that first question, with the second question. Okay? So everybody get ready to lock on. So you make a decision that you want to engage in outreach. What are you going to do? Lock on to that. Okay? Now, whatever you locked onto, could have been, okay, I'm going to go to the Rath Yatra, I'm going to go on book distribution, whatever. How many people said to themselves, okay, I want to do outreach, I'm going to my computer? Raise your hand. Okay? Look around, everybody. Keep those hands up. Look around. 5 years from now, we need to be in a place where at least half of the people raised their hand. Why? Because that's where the people are. It's true they're out on the street. Let's go find them and distribute books. It's true that we can have a festival because people will come. But the people are on the internet. And we're not really going there, are we? So that basically is what this seminar is all about. Ultimately speaking, we want to change our attitude so that half of our effort is preaching on the internet. So, let's go to the beginning slide. So this effort, ISKCON Online, I want to, how many people know He's a friend of everybody, okay? So maybe many of you know him. Pancharatna Prabhu, raise your hand if you know Pancharatna, okay? He's a Prabhupada disciple. He lives in Mayapur most of his time. He's the most friendly person in the world. He's my full partner in this effort, okay? And I wanted to make sure that we all recognize the fact that he's working a lot on this, as I am. Yesterday, I couldn't help but bring up Zmat, and I think Maharaj was the only person who had ever heard of that. Maybe there was one other. Zero moment of truth. Somebody says the word ISKCON, boom. They go to the internet. Somebody says Hare Krishna, boom. They go to the internet. And they go to the internet first, because they go to the internet first on everything. Whatever you want to do, you end up going to the internet to get some information on it. You want to buy a product? Boom, you go and look. 20 years ago, if you wanted to buy something that you didn't quite know about, you'd go to a salesperson who works within a company. That'd be the first person you would go to. No longer. That's the last person you'd want to go to. You learn everything about it. You have some medical problem that's disturbing you a bit. You've got to go to a doctor. 20 years ago, he's the first guy you'd go to. Before you go to a doctor today, you're learning everything about what you might have. And then you're going to a doctor. It doesn't matter what area of life you're involved in, you're going to the internet first. That's what Zmat is all about. It's a book that was published in 2011. It's absolutely just as valued today, even more so. And it not only represents one of the most fundamental truths to what we need to be doing on the internet, but it also represents something more. It's a concept. And it's only one of many, many concepts that we need to embrace and understand so that we would be able to succeed at pushing ourselves in front of our audiences in the correct way so as to be able to start to influence them. Let's, first of all, remember that faith funnel, because on the internet are all of those classifications of people. We have some people that just hardly know anything. We have other people that are giving some consideration to things. We have a certain amount of people that are in the first or second or third steps of transforming. The varying grades of people. So when we speak about dealing with the internet, it's not just the uninformed. Of course, if we start to look at ISKCON right now on the internet, largely it assumes that the only thing that we, generally speaking, have on the internet is for people who are absolutely sold out devotees. There's nothing much on there. Let's take a look. 84%, I spoke about that. And what do we see? So let's bring up ISKCON. It's just a simple search. Of course, you know how search engines work. If you search in Chicago, you get one result. You search in Los Angeles, you get another one. So, our first thing is ISKCON.org. Now, I need to just pause out and just be really sincere in saying that I'm not criticizing ISKCON from a sincerity point of view, from a deep spiritual desire. I'm not criticizing that in those devotees that have anything up here. Rather, I'm looking at it from a marketing point of view. Who are we trying to speak to? What are we putting up there? It's from that point of view, okay? It's really important. I'm not criticizing anybody. This site recently changed. It was kind of like in terms of where it once was, it's good. But if you go to it real quick and then be ready to come back to the main page, And so, okay, anybody that's been buzzing around on the internet and doing any study, you know that the Mormons started doing this about 6 months ago, so we're going to copy the Mormons. Okay, not a problem. Scroll down a little bit real quick and go to study groups. Up. There is no study group. I mean, there isn't. You click on study groups. All right, click up here. Doesn't even click. Okay, do use an arrow. Okay, know more about Bible. You know, let's go back to the Google page. So click back twice. Good. I was thrilled when I saw this. This doesn't come up on my screen in Los Angeles. You've really done a good job here. And at the same time, there's a lot of room to grow, okay? Now all of a sudden we go to Wikipedia. Anybody ever read Wikipedia? ISKCON on Wikipedia? You want to learn about the Turley case and the child abuse? This would be a place to go. You want to learn about the big problems with Narayan Maharaj and the arguments about Rasika Bhakti? Click here. There's all kinds of wonderful, wonderful things about ISKCON on this page. Let's scroll down a little more. Okay, we got another ISKCON Chicago. That's good. ISKCON News. It's a good effort. Okay, it does need some help. Now we got a Hindu temple and Yelp. And this is ISKCON Chicago, and we're like the Hindus. Okay, well, remember, I'm looking at this right now as I was on the street, I met one of you beautiful people, thinking, wow, you know, he was a nice guy. ISKCON? Hindu temple. Maybe not, okay. Now, we here in the United States have so little that even on the first page now, we get to ISKCON UK. So ISKCON UK in Chicago, and this happens to be the same in Los Angeles, is stronger on the search engine than anything that we've got going in the United States. And therefore it's showing up on the first page. Let's go over to our next one. So over here we've got, okay, and it looks like some devotee has written that. Now we've got Wikipedia. Now it's normal for Wikipedia to be showing up. As you know, they're the 9th largest trafficked site in the world. Okay, so it's quite normal. Now, do we have a bank of devotees that's working with Wikipedia to get the kind of stuff up here that we would want? Not really. There is one great devotee who's definitely paying some attention to it in Russia, but nothing super coordinated. Okay, let's scroll a little bit more. We've got more, okay? And so here we have HariKrishna.com. Let's click on that. Because now I heard about the Hare Krishna mantra, and how interesting does that look to you? Just without even reading the words. No one's going to pay attention to this. Because it doesn't have any life to it, okay? Some of the words are very nice. All of us are pleasure-seeking creatures. You know. From a marketing point of view, we're talking now, okay? I'm a pleasure-seeking creature. Okay, let's go back. Go back to the Bhagavad Gita now. So, okay, Bhagavad Gita. Nobody has sold more Bhagavad Gitas in this world than us. By Prabhupada's push and all the efforts that have gone through. Kaishori, do you have an idea how many millions, or is it about 500 million Bhagavad Gitas? 600 million Bhagavad Gitas have been sold since Srila Prabhupada started to sell. Wikipedia, once again, BhagavadGita.org, and then it starts with Namaste. That's not an ISKCON word, really. We sometimes use that word. Welcome to the Bhagavad Gita Online. We're happy to do that. This is just a Hindu organization. Scroll again. BhagavadGita.org. Okay. No. Bhagavad Gita Classic. Amazon. Go. More. Okay. There's no ISKCON on here. Let's go to the next page. Now, I'll tell you something about search engines. People look at the first 3 or 4. Beyond that, okay, I was at 70% of the people look at the first 3 or 4. Not pages. Only 4% to 6% of the people will go to the second page. Okay, so we're going to go to the second page. And do we see anything yet about ISKCON? We got Beck out there, sandbeck.org, okay. Database, okay. Very good. At least it's ISKCON, and it's on the second page. In Los Angeles, it's on the third page, but click on it. Remember, I just received the book. I haven't started to read about it. I want to learn something about it. This is what I get. I just received the book. I want to learn something about it before I begin to read. This is what I get. And this is the biggest selling book that we have, 600 million. This is our condition. Okay, let's get out of this and go back to our slideshow. Do you get the idea? Okay, I'm going to suggest to you that this is embarrassing. This is an embarrassing situation because we know that 84% of the people that we are talking to on a first pass are going to the internet and looking us up. Wow. They can't find us. And when they do find us, they're finding something that is very difficult to relate to. We're just not relevant and relatable. If there is somebody in this room that wishes to argue this, I'll spend the time arguing with you later on it. I would rather you just accept it as a fundamental truth. Are we making it easy? Are we making it easy for people to connect with us and learn about Krishna consciousness based on what you just saw? Is it possible that we're hurting them? Because if we're not making it easy for them to approach Krishna, but we're making it difficult. You heard the story from Devamrita Maharaj about his brother. You heard the story from Radhanath Maharaj about the one devotee that with the watermelon. Those were stories of hurt. We're actually hurting people. We're hurting the people that we love. We're hurting the people that we care about. We're hurting the people that we live for by not getting this internet right. And as a result, we should be pained to the core. Now, of course, you might have thought that I was going to speak to you about something that's super enthusiastic and fantastic and wonderful. Yeah. We should be pained to the core. Now, there are some attempts to do better. I've already pointed them out. ISKCON.org has made a first stab at being better. That page had not changed, and that's the first page that comes up because it is ISKCON.org when somebody hunts for ISKCON. And that page had not changed for 6-7 years. It was just an old kirtan, nobody, from England. They're making an attempt. Nityananda Pran Prabhu's efforts are really good. Washington, D.C.'s efforts. These are good efforts. And every one of these efforts has to continue, but we have to make a whole lot more of those efforts. So we are doing better. But better doesn't necessarily mean good enough. So ISKCON Online's first primary purpose is to create an association of interested devotees who will improve the quality, the relevance, and the relatability of ISKCON's presence on the internet. That's this effort's first primary goal. ISKCON's second primary purpose is to create teams of devotees that will utilize the state-of-the-art methodologies of marketing and technology to create a total online revolution for ISKCON. It's a 5-year project that we can sit back and then 5 years from now say, okay, we were once here, and where are we now? It's going to take a fair amount of devotees to actually know what's going on the internet. Anybody, for instance, who didn't know what Zmod was or meant, that's like, let's say, step one. So we have a vision. We envision a global network of creative, enthusiastic, trained devotees using creativity and technology in the service of ISKCON. Creativity and technology. These two things are what drives ISKCON into the future. Kindly remember yesterday when we talked about marketing, I felt that the first part of the dialogue that I was offering you was really establishing purity as the force. We take Radhanath Maharaj's lecture this morning, compassion and love. These are the basis of what we're trying to accomplish. Creativity and technology are techniques as opposed to fundamental truths about ourselves, okay? And we're going to create and maintain a rich, diverse, and attractive online world of websites, communities. Why do I say communities? Does everybody know the reference? How many people know the reference? That we're creating communities. What does that mean? These are online communities, right? How many people know that online communities exist? Raise your hand. Okay, so more than half. Fantastic. Serving the spiritual needs of people throughout the world with relevant and relatable content, nurturing their awareness, interest, and engagement. And we see these things. So at this point, let's pass out our document. Yeah, I could have told you earlier. I was going to tell you that. So once you get this document that these wonderful devotees are passing out, kindly turn to page 3. And I'd like to just, yes. Yes, of course. Huh? Yeah. That's right. Not very easily. Not very easily at all. The only way you can deal with that is put more positive stuff that is read by more eyeballs that push that stuff down and down and down. That's what you do. Very little, unless there's something very hard to do. It's really hard to do. Yes. It's ISKCON Desire Tree. Yeah. That's right. And ISKCON Desire Tree is a website that is internal. And, you know, even if you were to listen to Vaishnava Seva, who is one of my dear friends, he would tell you, I don't know anything about marketing. And And he's not really trying to approach the unaware people. He's serving the devotional community. Okay? So, I'd like everyone to just kind of pause out now and get your visionary mindset going. I want you to start thinking out into the future. Okay? Is everybody now in the future? We're not here anymore. We're in the future. Right? Effective and attractive content. A deep understanding and capacity to create content, design, and branding that is both attractive, relevant, and relatable, and fully faithful to Srila Prabhupada. A rich online world. A broad universe of websites, other channels, social media pages, online communities, mobile apps, and whatever new places show up in the future of the online world that attract millions of daily visitors. Millions. They're just waiting to look at this. There's millions of eyeballs waiting to see it. ISKCON Online, ISKCON Desire Tree has about somewhere around 100,000 visitors a month. Okay? We have millions of people searching for the truth. Dynamic spiritual marketing using techniques and tools and systems of modern marketing and contact relationship management and reaching targets to nurture their interest. Countering all the negativity, which is what you brought up, Prabhu. Expert use of content marketing and SEO search engine optimization to overwhelm the negative stuff that's out there about us. Strong analytics. Anybody ever study an analytics of a page, of a web page? Okay, a few people. So you know that there's all kinds of information that a person who is skilled in analytics can get. What sites did they, what parts, how long did they stay on a page? How many pages did they go to? Where did they exit? What's their bounce rate? Etc., etc. All the virtual learning opportunities that we have in front of us. Incredible learning opportunities. We can actually even have physical products, selling more Bhagavad Gitas and stuff like that. Virtual distributors. Just like I said, okay, 5 years from now, half the room is going to be saying, okay, when I want to preach, I'm going to my terminal. Computer, handheld screen. So we'll have a virtual distribution going on. We have the potential of sustainable revenues if we so choose to. People are willing to pay for classes. We just have to give them classes that are worth paying for. A progressive culture, collaborative technologies, a global volunteer base, regional connectivity, making everything personal. So that's the vision of ISKCON Online, to help that happen. It's a beautiful vision, isn't it? So our overall mission statement is to deliver the Hare Krishna movement through internet and mobile technologies. We use innovation, creativity, systems, and technology to deliver and engage relevant, relatable online content, personal services, quality products, and fulfilling experiences. Once again, just the UX. How many people know what UX is? Not so many. UX stands for user experience, okay? So in marketing, what we do, especially with online, is we're concerned with the user experience. What kind of experience do they have when they go online? Because remember from yesterday, we're interested in stepping into the shoes of the people that we're willing to, wanting to affect and wanting to change, and see how they're looking at us and what kind of experience they're having. Excuse me. So, development of core competencies in a culture of education. That's going back to our first primary thing. We want to develop this among those people that really want to get serious about the internet. And so we're going to be building our teams. And these teams are populating the network. And it's a really first, let's say it's the first step of getting something accomplished on ISKCON's online presence. Building that team. We need executive people that can, do things, get things done. The most simplest definition of the word management or manage is to see to it that things get done. So we need some management. We need research. We talked a lot about this yesterday. And this is a big thing. Yesterday's presentation was marketing in general. Today's presentation is specifically to online. We need content development. Content is king in the internet. It's actually king everywhere. And so we have to develop the best talent that we have to create that content. Of course, that content has to be product driven. No, you didn't catch that joke. Market driven. Okay? It's got to be market driven. Thank you. And so this group includes teams for branding, graphic and other design, website general, social media, video content. Video, as you know, is huge. I didn't want to slash and burn everything that ISKCON has done, but if I wanted to, then we would have went to YouTube. And we would have seen, talk about embarrassment. Some of the stuff on YouTube is outrageous. Virtual learning environments, okay? So there's a big part of ISKCON Online. Let me just see where I'm at here. Hang on. I'm thinking of going off script for a minute. But I gotta check my time. Yeah, I'm about 3 minutes ahead. Bring up a fresh page, a whole fresh page. And then go to ISKCON Online. And let's now start scrolling down. So what you're seeing right now on ISKCON Online, and what you're going to see for a while, is all kinds of articles, because we're creating this learning environment. We're hand-selecting. There's a wonderful devotee. He's a big member of our team, Gopal from Chopati. He's significantly helped us in getting these, although Pancharatna Prabhu and myself have also personally selected some of these articles. Go up to articles, and you'll just hold the menu down. So what you're seeing here is marketing principles, content marketing, spiritual marketing, social media, website design, marketing tools, CRM, SEO, analytics. So that's our first slate of a learning environment, where then when you go to marketing principles, and if you go to marketing principles, then what you're going to see is a host of articles that the experts have written. And by then, reading all of this stuff, you start to gain more and more knowledge about what we're attempting to do learning the creativity and the technology necessary to really have a presence on the internet. Eventually, to begin with, our research is continuing, so we're continuing to refresh this all the time. But eventually our team members, which we're going to get to in a minute, will all participate in finding the best knowledge and the best source. Okay, let's go back to our PowerPoint. So this group includes course creation. I know another spiritual organization that the leadership of that spiritual organization 15 years ago sat back and their equivalent of the JVC sat back 15 years ago and said, okay, we're going to be a knowledge-based learning organization. That organization has about 3 times as many temples in the United States as we do. Okay? 15 years later, by selling courses at $99 a pop and $129 a pop, and then also having seminars and then also having retreats, they bring in 90% of their revenue off of their learning environments. 90%. Shambhala, the biggest Buddhist organization. They're big time on learning. So our course creation is it's one of the most underdeveloped things that we could possibly have. And that course delivery and the learning community development. Mobile platforms. Let's put Nityananda Prabhu on the spot. Is your site optimized for mobile? That's really great. Fantastic. Configuring it for mobile is very, very important because everyone is going to the internet on their screen. And in that millennial notion that we're all kind of agreeing as our primary target, you probably have 65% of the people that go online are going online with their smartphones. Other product developments and special teams, e-books, premium subscription content, services, marketing team. This is something that Prasharana Prabhu taught me in Bengali. The Mahajan is the one who organizes the market, getting goods made by others and then bringing them to sell. That's actually the Bengali definition of that word. So Sri Nityananda Prabhu is our Mahajan. We chose him. We're hoping he chooses us. And I should also say that we report through Srila Prabhupada to Lord Jagannath at the Jagannath Mandir in Mayapur. So every time we go to Mayapur, we stand in front of him, give him a full report on how far we've gone. Okay? Performance, technical, got to be technical in this area, web hosting, workgroup collaboration, CMS, CRM, MAS. Who knows what MAS stands for? Okay, fantastic. Marketing automation software. So you launch marketing automation software, somebody says something to you, you're able to give them a quick response, and as an auto, you're able to find out exactly what pages he's gone to. You're able to automatically send them stuff of interest. Let's say he spent 1.5 minutes on a website looking at karma. Boom. Marketing automation software would send him more information on karma. All the human resources necessary for this, fundraising, because I wish I could estimate. I don't actually have a really good estimate, but in my mind, I'm going to say the Mormons, which obviously is a much bigger organization than us. I'm going to say they probably spend $20 million a year on the internet. something like that? Yesterday we said, well, North America, if we had $1 million budget a year, that would get us a good start. ISKCON needs another $1 million or $2 specifically on the internet. Localized in affiliates. So we're going to create affiliates. Let's go to the one page. I'm just going to scroll down what our team members, as opposed to somebody that just wants to sign up and receive newsletters and stuff from us, because that's one level of participation. But a stronger participation of those people that really want to actually be a true team member of ISKCON Online. So we're just going to scroll through this. This is the questionnaire that ISKCON Online team members have to fill out to become a member. Because we've got to have the information. So participation, okay, your name, your phone number, keep going, date of birth, okay, fine. So, devotional history, okay, next one. Your vision and your interests, next one. The skills and interests, okay, what executive level management you have, go ahead. Then we want to know what research skills you have, go ahead. What content skills you have. You see all these questions that relate to content, okay? What courseware experience you have. What other product development experience you have. What technical skills you have. What server management you might have. What content management systems you might know. What content relationship management you might know. What marketing automation you may know. Go ahead, scroll some more. Okay, the learning management systems. There's this really great project that the devotees, actually I'm serving that group too, which is the GBC College for Leadership and Management. Maybe you've heard of that. And zonal leadership is going to this college. And then out of that, they go for 2 weeks twice, total a month within a year. But then they have online training also, okay? And Gopinath Prasad Prabhu and several people on his team been working on online training specifically for the college, and is using a system that Harvard, Yale, and Stanford, and one other college created as a standard bearer for online stuff. And if you were to go to, and it's called EX, and if you were to go to that, you'd see GBC College listed among all these big colleges that are using this system, okay? So we're kind of like listed up there. It's like really great. Go ahead. Specialized programming, okay? Marketing, all the interest in marketing, all the performance issues, all the fundraising skills, all the human resource skills, all of these other interests and skills. You get an idea of the resume that we're asking everyone to fill out? Because we're real serious about having team members and knowing what they're able to accomplish, so that we can gradually start to match these people up with projects, okay? It's like super exciting. Okay, let's go back to our slideshow. We have a number of internet projects that we're... What time am I supposed to go to? Because I think I'm... Huh? Well, you better start getting... Because my enthusiasm for this is a little bit too much, and I've just been moving through it. And I'm way over time. Way under time. Okay. Yeah, I'm like almost done. Okay. Yeah, okay. Well, let's do that. Let's pause. Before we start talking about the internet projects that we're going to be working on as our second phase, let's pause and ask if there's any questions. Okay, yes, Prabhu. And maybe you could just, because we have about 6, okay, yeah, if we're going to run quickly, that's great, okay.
Thank you again for the part 2 of the presentation. It's actually an online question.
Yeah.
So I know that you were saying the designation on Yelp, for example, as a Hindu religious organization was not the best, but sometimes we're limited.
Well, it's not the best.
It may.
For Western outreach, it's great for attracting Indians. It's fantastic. It's smart. But
Right.
Go ahead.
But when there are factors like that outside our immediate control, for example, Yelp gave us that designation, what would you see as sort of the ideal designation for an online presence when we have a limited set of categories?
Generally speaking, I'm here to speak about broad concepts, and when you start asking a very specific answer like that, that's why we need an educated team of people to work on. I will say something about Yelp. They're very difficult to work with. Okay, once they decide, then, it's very hard to get them to work with you. But those levels of specific questions are a little bit hard for me, because I'm trying to create the structure and the system for people to work in so that they can answer those types of questions, actually. Yes, Mark.
Hare Krishna, I've got a question about, just wanted to get some opinion or feedback from you. If we look for a book online on Amazon or something like that, the hard copy has a separate price, the online copy has a separate price, but we have to pay for both. And it's something that has always, perplexed me, that we're selling Bhagavad Gita hardcovers for $15, and then someone goes online, and the whole book is there for free. So it doesn't, I don't know, in my head it doesn't sound right. And I also don't understand in the age to come where people are buying more and more ebooks. Why are these books available? Like, why are we keeping our books available online for free? Or it kind of sounds counterproductive to the fact that people ask us on Sankirtan that, can I get the book online? No, you can't. You can't get it in the shop. You can't get it only from us. You get it, and then as soon as you go online, the only thing that you showed us on the Bhagavad Gita scroll was the Veda-based thing. So I was just wondering, is there a reason behind this?
The main issue, as I understand it, is a lack of coordination between the BBT and ISKCON. ISKCON being the main customer of the BBT. That being said, because I think there is really a lack of coordination, of deep level coordination. That being said, I will say that the BBT and ISKCON at the highest level is more coordinated than they've ever been. That's one point. And number two, I will say that the BBT has made good steps in the ebook area. Okay, I'm not sure about the entire rationale as to why they're not charging. I think at a certain point, go ahead. Let's get the microphone over to Kaishori, hoping that she would raise her hand. I tried to get her to speak a couple of times, and then she didn't want to, but now this is something that she's got some passion for, so go ahead.
Okay. So you may not realize that there are a number of DBT divisions, and I don't really know the situation in North America because I work with the North European DBT. In Europe, we do not give the... I'm also responsible for the division that creates the BBT ebook. We do not give them away for free except to committed devotees. We gave them as a gift from Prabhupada, but everybody else we sell them to, and they're available. This Bhagavad Gita that you saw was not a BBT book. The Veda base is, I'm not sure why it's available online for free. I think it's, I don't know, that's what he's saying about coordination between the GBC and the BBT. There's also a lack of coordination among the BBT divisions, and especially with the archives and the other branches of the BBT. But I just want to mention one thing, if I can, is that in what we're doing in Europe is that we sell books on the street, and we print in the front of every book a redemption code, so that if people want an ebook, then they can get it for free, but they buy the book first, so they can get both. And we would like to encourage North America to do the same.
Yeah. And so we'll go to Maharaj next, but I'd also just like to give a more global, longer, broader answer to the question, and that is, As a result of us not paying enough attention to the internet, these things have not been resolved. And as we spend more and more time and more attention to the internet, those types of serious questions end up getting resolved. Maharaj.
I have a couple of quick questions. One of them, is there a team already? And if so, what extent is that team?
Yes, Pancharatna Prabhu and myself.
That's it.
And then Gopinath Prasad is one of our team members. And that's all we have.
I see.
And we launched it on April 21st. And we're just getting going. And we're starting. We've got over 400 people that have already signed up as newsletter recipients. And I think our last count was about 30 people who are signed up as actual team members. And so, we're just moving forward with it. It's our first step into it. We've got time for one more question. Oh, you have
Yeah, I
a
have
second
a couple.
question. I'm sorry, Mark.
One of them is the BB set up for drop shipping?
BBT?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, if you're selling or you're presenting something online, can you set up with them to do drop shipping like Amazon does, where you put, you say, I have this site, I'm showing this and that and the other. Here is Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, and you can buy it. But you're actually not buying it from me, you're buying it from the BBT, but the BBT ships it. I get a percentage or something, or maybe not, and that's called drop shipping.
I would suggest that it's almost for sure they're not.
Was that?
I would imagine that they are not set up for such a thing.
I mean, because that's the big thing these
It
days.
certainly is a great idea. Of course. Yeah, very good.
I just learned about
One more question from this Prabhu. Who's been holding their hand up? Okay, we'll go to you two, and then that's it.
Thank you so much for the presentation. My thoughts behind, and I work on some of the websites for ISKCON, and I was just thinking, there's a kind of discouragement about gadgets and going online, in all the lectures you hear all the time. That's probably one of the reasons why we do not have, a lot of devotees going and checking out, what goes on and where we are. So I would like to hear your thoughts about that, and how we can probably try to encourage devotees to go there but not get distracted.
So are you saying that devotees are actually discouraged from going online? It's a distraction. Oh, yeah, Facebook can be a tremendous distraction on one level. I think it really goes back to Radhanath Maharaj answer to the one Prabhu who asked that question. I'm a brahmachari, now I want to go out and preach, and now I'm going to associate with all these people, and you heard his response. If the foundation is really firm, so we can get distracted by anything. I don't know, There may be some people in here who have TVs in their home and get distracted by those. There's so many distractions. But when our intention is to spread Krishna consciousness, then getting online and trying to figure out how we can participate, that's not a distraction at all. And certainly Facebook is a critical element in our future. Now, the Facebook that we have today, it's not really serving our overall purposes very well, is it? But Facebook tomorrow should be super fantastic source of relevant and relatable stuff, that I send something to somebody and they find that so interesting and nifty that they then start sending it out to their communities. That's where the challenge is. And you might have heard of this notion of 6 pixels of separation. Have you heard that notion? It comes from Joel Mitchell. He's Joel Mitch. He's actually an acquaintance of mine. He developed that term. It's the 6 degrees of separation only applied to the internet. That we are 6 pixels away from every single person in the world. 6 pixels away. And so if we can figure out something creative and interesting and compelling spiritually, get it to just one person, and that person sends it to 10 people, and out of those 10 people, 3 of them decide to send it on to their 10 people, all of a sudden this thing starts snowballing. And that's why we can literally have, in 3 or 4 years from now, millions of eyeballs on us. Millions of eyeballs on us, reading, appreciating what we're saying, starting to change the thought process from this materialistic thought process to a spiritual process. So there is a distracting element to the internet, no question about it. But it's no different than any other, in my opinion, it's no different. It's not the media, it's the mindset. If the foundation, as Maharaj was saying earlier this morning, is solid and strong, we're not going to get distracted. One last question from the Prabhu back there. All right, well, we'll give him... No, we'll come to you last since you're our senior. Go ahead.
Hey, Krishna Prabhu. Just a quick question on the resume that your skills kept, how much the skills that is required for this.
Yeah.
If somebody is not that much, he's not been working in that.
That's all right, fill it out. Dude, you just want to help. Just say, I want to learn, I want to help.
Right, so that's
Yeah.
still there, and you can still be participating even if you don't have
ISKCON Online is interested in teaching. Not that we teach you, but we learn together. So join. Maharaj?
No, I was just going to say that the Chandrasekhar Maharaj's question and the other question about the drop shipping and all that stuff and the free books, I noted that down. I'm the chair or coordinator of the GBT team, and we're going to meet. We have our regular meetings, and I'm going to ask the questions and get back to you. So
Yeah.
we're on the case. I'm going to follow up.
Fantastic.
Your statements didn't fall into the ether.
Yeah. And that ebook is part of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay. We have one other devotee who's insisting on asking, and then I have to then move on. What time am I supposed to have? Oh, 11:30. Oh, okay. Well, then we'll take 2 more questions then. No, but we have the other devotee who's also been keeping his hand up. Go ahead.
Thank you for allowing me to speak to you, Prabhuji. Yesterday, we were talking about competition getting ahead of us, and today we are talking about the internet outreach. What happened is I had parked my car outside yesterday, and somebody left this very interesting brochure out there, karma, incarnation, all those things, and the only thing that they left here was not an address or anything. They said it's an e-book. So what did I do? I Googled it. The moment I Googled it, I didn't even hit enter. It showed up in the internet search.
Yeah.
And this is, again, competition. This is not what we want to spread.
That's right.
So this is a pretty good example of how...
Excellent example. Excellent example. So did everybody understand that? Where was that little thing? On your car or something?
Yeah, it was in the...
So he found something on his car.
Yeah, and
It's a little advertisement.
you can
Bring it up
actually
here real
try it
quick.
now.
This is a real good example of what even smaller I'm assuming this is a smaller organization.
Somebody wrote a book. It's on Amazon.
This is just somebody who wrote a book.
Yeah, and
The Power and Intelligence of Karma and Reincarnation. It's just an individual who wrote a book. This is an individual, probably. Put it on his car, and then, $3.99 an ebook. He goes to Google it, and now all of a sudden, he's totally engaged. Okay? This is like,
and somebody who doesn't know what it is all about,
Yeah.
then they get the wrong message.
That's right. Now, last question for sure.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for enlightening on these aspects. So you mentioned about the search engine optimization and using the analytics to increase the page ranking and all that stuff. So while we have control on the content that we publish, or as a legitimate body of ISKCON, but we don't have control on the other people who might also publish and also employ similar techniques to increase their page ranking, and that potentially can display some message which is not so favorable for us. So how do we counteract that?
Well, the primary counteracting of this type of thing is done by us, creating such relevant and relatable content that over time it becomes more and more popular than what the competition is doing. And as it becomes more and more popular, it gets higher and higher on the search engine. And the search engine is largely based on the quality of the content relating to the search terms, and then how many people are going to our websites instead of other people's websites. So it's, yesterday we spoke a little bit about competition, and okay, we've got Bhakti competition, we've got Kirtan competition. We have to be very competitive in this area. This is where the competition is. Okay, thank you very much for all these really great questions. Here's some of the internet network projects that we're going to be working on. Our initial focus is to develop several important, this is once we get our teams together, okay? And once our teams become more educated, okay? Because when we put something out, we want it to be whatever our best level is at the time, okay? So, Bhakti.com. I bought Bhakti.com 4 years ago for $14,000. I haven't had time to do anything about it, but I knew that I wanted to. KC Basics. These are working titles, okay? Kirtan World. Darshan.com. I bought that a while back. GitaMadeEasy.com. These are working titles. Spiritualfood.com. Okay? So in other words, there's all kinds of different websites that we can start to create if we have knowledgeable people that are willing to work under, work together and work under an overall theme. And once we gather all of our people together, we will then start working on these projects. This is like the second phase of ISKCON Online. All of our learning environments, so bhaktilife.org, which we would then connect to bhakti.com, ISKCONacademy.org, KrishnaCourses.com. These are examples of things that we'll start to launch. There's a really broad, it's popular to take online courses, okay? It's very popular. And so if we really put together really great, relatable courses on some of our core concepts, later on Bhagavad Gita, we can have a whole stair-step of coursework that people can start to participate in. So I would say that our virtual learning environments that we want to create are one of the most exciting projects that, ISKCON Online effort is going to make. Some of these other things then become japa courses, Gita course, so in other words, more Krishna conscious, more direct Krishna conscious type things. So if you look at our faith funnel, we would want to have some courses for the seeds level category. We would want to have some for contact level. We would want to have some for consideration. Then literally for that stage of transforming, okay? So our coursework will be in these various stages that you see in the faith funnel. Okay, these are just spiritually capture pages where we just grab hold of different terms that might rise up on the search engine. All of our social media and online communities. We worked with Pancharatna Prabhu, specifically worked with the one devotee, I forget his name, he's an absolutely wonderful devotee in Mumbai, to start turning their Facebook into something of some substance, okay? Last count, and this was a year ago that Pancharatna Prabhu started working with it. Last count, 1.5 million Facebook members. 1.5 million in 1 year's time. Just think about that. It's incredible. Okay, supporting all of our other outreach efforts. So this is the notion that we were speaking of, where Prabhuji brought up the book, or the other Prabhu brought up, okay, the Mataji brought up the online, let's sell a book on the online. So our devotional preachers that go out into the street or go to the college campus, they have to have online support. So ISKCON Online then, ISKCON Online members, understanding what the leadership or even at the temple president level needs to support their other non-online preaching, boom, let's get all of that created. And existing websites, we're willing to help out if somebody wants us to help out. If they don't want us to help out, we'll do other things. So connect with us, get online, go to ISKCONonline.com. As a minimum, just become a person that's going to receive newsletters and stuff about what we're all doing. But then if you have a real burning desire to start participating as a team member, then join that team, and that big, long resume that we're asking everyone to fill out, fill that thing out, and, we'll start to connect. Please understand that right now, we only really have 3 people that are working kind of like in earnest on it. Pancharatna Prabhu, myself, Gopinath Prasad. We have a couple of other devotees that, like Param Paravani, and certainly Vaishnava Seva Prabhu is paying attention to what we're doing and has been helping us. So there's a few people helping. Maybe we have one devotee who's actually going to take charge as an executive level person. We're still working to make a final decision with him as to whether he has enough time, because he's actually a big executive in his own firm. His name is Vikashananda Prabhu from Orange County. Some of you may know him. Otherwise, joining doesn't necessarily mean that immediately there's going to be action. Please remember, this is on a launch today, and we're looking at a 5-year plan. So, in summary, Srila Prabhupada wrote to Bhagavan Das, so go on with your organization for distribution of my books through the press and other modern media, and Krishna will certainly be pleased upon you. We can use everything. Television, radio, movies, whatever there may be, to tell about Krishna. ISKCON Online will systematically package Krishna consciousness in all the new medias, websites, apps, online learning, social network, and more. It's a logical next step to the systematically propagating spiritual knowledge, as desired by Srila Prabhupada, coming closer to the fulfillment of the mission of Sri Gauranga. And we look forward to your participation. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Braj,
Time for questions?
there is time.
Yes.
Okay, so let's start with Maharaj.
Okay, I was just curious whether you'd ever heard of this software called Market Samurai that does a chop-up of these various websites. We just took a look at these 10 URLs that are there for ISKCON. This gives you the stats on them and what it would take to beat them, because that's the way it works. And just recently, the whole thing with Google, they've launched out after Penguin, Hummingbird, these things, which have set a whole new playing field for SEO.
Right.
So a lot of stuff, if you actually look on the web, and I have lately, you'll find that a lot of websites are really bad SEO, especially by modern standards. So in one sense, if you just take up really carefully designed SEO websites, you can beat out stuff that's been there for years and years. And from what it looks like on ISKCON here with these stats, we wouldn't have much trouble, actually. We might have trouble beating out ISKCON.org for a while, but these other ones we wouldn't have a lot of trouble. Of course, Wiki's going to be there because it is what it is.
Right. So that's absolutely correct. And that's why the technical aspects of this kind of work are very, very important. And, the notions of semantic search and theme search that Google started is actually, at this point, 18 months old, and yet very few people even still know about it unless you're within the industry, okay? So, yeah.
Well, this has keywords where you can
Well,
put in
keywords is still important as a search item, and meta tags are still important, but Google also then started putting more weight on what's called semantic search and theme search, okay? Which is that they're looking not just at meta tags, not just at keywords. They're looking at a semantical view of a web page to determine its placement. So it's technical, but it's a very good point. That's correct. Some of these bad sites that we don't like, some of these people that are like negative toward ISKCON, they actually have developed a degree of expertise on this. So they're not just going to, but you're right, and this is another example. What Maharaj is doing is he's looking on a site that helps with the analytics, okay? And then having those sites analyzed, and then he's getting feedback. So that's part of what we were speaking about. We need people with strong analytical skills. So very good. Thank you, Maharaj. This Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu. I was wondering, in any given organization, is there a general formula? What percentage of the budget goes to marketing versus product development?
Well, the overall marketing of an organization usually is it depends on the product. Depends on the product. So let's say that it can be as low as 10% and can be as high as 30%. Okay? So if ISKCON's total, I don't even know what the total revenues are of ISKCON North America, but I'm just going to pull a number out. Okay, maybe it's $30 million. Okay, Vadri Narayan Maharaj, do you think the total collections every temple in North America is $30 million? You want to venture a guess? I'm going to say it's 30 million. That's my guess. So, from my perspective, he thinks it's high. Okay, 20 million. And so, therefore, let's spend at least $2 million, at least $2 million on promotions. Okay, so anyway, what's next?
In marketing today, what percentage is online marketing?
As much as half, depending again on what kind of company you're speaking with regard to ISKCON. I'm sure it should be at least half. Yeah. Next question was back here. And then we have to, from there, go over this way, because I've been kind of looking here and not over here. So we're going to come over that way here next.
Just to add to Maharaj's, market summary thing, the other thing that Google search looks at is, is there any comments in the website? Is there any other cross-website links?
Those are called links.
Links?
Yeah, so searching also counts the links.
Yes.
So a good, strong website might have 300 or 400 links. But of course, if you're linking to Christian.com or Desire Tree, those links may help or not help, okay? But they're big sites, okay? But we don't have a whole lot of big sites to link to, so go ahead.
That's not exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying something slightly different from that.
Yeah.
This is more about when you go into any article or anything, you see comments by the users.
Comments.
Comments by the users,
Right.
there are negative comments, there are positive comments, there are discussion groups. And there in those discussions, if we make meaningful comments and say, hey, please visit this site, this has more content related to, then that sort of reference actually pushes the SEO of your
Comments
website.
have an awful lot to do with pushing it up, that's correct. And I looked at one temple before I came, and there were 5 comments that were very positive, right up there on the main page. And then there was a 6th one that was horrible, utilizing terms that I wouldn't be willing to repeat about the temple and about the temple president. So, but we don't have the staff and we don't have the care and attention to push some of that stuff down. Okay, and so therefore, stuff like that, it gets right up there. Okay, Radhanath Maharaj, was it 3 years ago, Maharaj, that you began in earnest in changing the dynamic of the searching for your good and holy self? 3 years ago? And the effort that it took to move that dynamic was a lot, okay? So that's the kind of stuff that we need to do in general. Who's the next question over here? Yes.
Hare Krishna, thank you for taking my question. I had actually a few comments. One is something that everyone can go home and do before it's not necessarily a 5-year project, which is that every temple website should link to the website that you want or link to, ISKCON.org, and the list of centers should have links to the website, and every temple website should have that list. So in other words, the network of temple websites will then be a network of linked websites. That just creating that link, which should only take a few minutes, will be great for the optimization.
As a general statement, I agree.
Yeah.
And then I would have some concerns at the current level that we're at.
So you're saying you want to wait for that website to get better?
If I were in charge of ISKCON's internet, I would be waiting.
I see.
Because some of these links aren't necessarily going to give us the relatability and the relevancy that we would like to see. Okay?
Okay, so that's...
We've got to change the dynamic a little bit. So, for instance, let's bring up Chicago real quick, and then also bring up ISKCON Washington, D.C. ISKCON of D.C. And what you're going to see with these two sites is, even though they were developed independently, in part because they're in a similar kind of mindset, they have a good sense of marketing here because of Nityananda Pran. They have a very good sense of marketing in Washington, D.C. because of Raja Bihari Prabhu's son and the temple president, Ananda Vrindavan. So first we'll go to ISKCON Chicago. And you see this, okay? And this is going to be scrolling, okay? Every town and village, okay, great. 3 centers in Chicago, boom, 500 years knowledge, real good. Scroll up. See, okay, knowledge, lifestyle, service. You see how fresh and clean and easy the site is? There's a lot of good things. Let's go to Washington, D.C. Okay, so you see how they're similar, okay? So, you get and then scroll up, you see, okay, Founder Acharya. Just click to the side thing so we can see the main banners a little bit. If they're scrolling, I'm not sure. Okay, Summer Arts Camp, okay? Scroll up a little bit. Recent, dedicated, this. There's a little bit of a sense that they're from the same organization. Yet again, there's significant differences. So, can we create an overall North America strategy that basically says that, okay, there's room to be individual, and we should also look like we're under the same banner.
I see.
When we get to that level, then we can start to share, get the links going and everything else like that. Because I want everybody to know that I was a Sankirtan leader here in Chicago for 2 years. And my middle son, Kishore, was born under the mercy of Kishore Kishori, okay? So I'm not saying anything negative about Kishore Kishori. Yeah, lightning bolts strike me if I do. But we're so much into our product approach as opposed to a marketing approach that most of our sites, they got the deities up there, okay? And the deities, for the newly unaware person, probably one of the more difficult things to understand.
Yes, definitely.
Yet we're like, now, for attracting the Indian population, the deities are wonderful. Get them up there, because the average Indian knows all about deities. So it makes a whole lot of sense to put their lordships up there. But if we're going after Western preaching, so that's then a second element of what you're saying. Should we be having basically two sites? That's a strategy issue that has to be thought through. Maybe we should be having a Western site, go to the LDS real quick, and then go to Mormon.org, okay? And then as soon as you get them up, then we'll go to the next person. Go ahead. I hope that answers your question as much as we have time for. No. Okay.
Well, that's that question. The other thing was about these YouTube videos.
Yeah.
If they use any content that is owned by the BBT, any clip of footage of Prabhupada or anything, you can issue a DMCA takedown notice, and if there's anything in there that is owned by ISKCON, you can ask YouTube to take it down. It's
That's
not like
correct.
other websites.
That's
but it needs people to be going and looking for those and
That's correct.
finding
Because I'm a servant of the BBT trustees, I can tell you that every time that we've talked about trying to slam somebody that is inappropriately using the BBT, we say to ourselves, we don't have enough money to fight that battle.
Well,
And
I mean,
only on occasion do we go after them, because it takes a lot of time. But, thank you.
Okay.
Next
Thanks.
person. Okay, so first of all, we're going to the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints. That's the internal site for members, right? And we see, okay, strengthening our faith with families. It's time for Mother's Day fun. Don't miss the upcoming devotion for young adults. You see stuff that is for the members, okay? Then go to Mormon. Now everybody knows the Mormons, right? Okay? So of course I told you how ISKCON.org kind of grabbed hold of who are the people of the Mormons, of ISKCON. So, I've been homeless and now I'm attending college. My name is Paris Thomason. I'm a Mormon, okay? And so, okay, yeah, so they're telling this story, okay? Now you go to beliefs, and what you're going to see is easy explanations, not detailed stuff. We're Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Huh? What is that? So easy stuff, okay? So good on that. So what you see with the Mormons is something for their members, something for the people that don't know anything about it. Next question. And this will be the last one. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much for your insightful presentation. My question has to do with human resources. It's sort of from a big picture perspective. There's probably enough talent in half this room to cure most of what you're talking about, both from a technology perspective, a content perspective. What I've seen in my few years in ISKCON is generally for devotees, we feel quite stretched. There's so many services, and then there's more. We're always addressing sort of the immediate concerns of either our community or our temple or our service area. So how do you, because I see your presentation as more of a strategy presentation, how do you as a person who's really thinking about getting the pieces in place, envision getting together a team? Because, for really what this requires is attention, and we have qualified people in ISKCON who can do that, but, if they're giving so much attention here, how will they go to work and then support their families? You know what I'm saying? So how do you address these sort of more practical concerns to get together a team that's more attentive and focused on this versus being stretched in different directions?
I think it's a question of awareness of the importance. And we're all aware of the fact that since we asked the Lord to arrive in the Archa Murti Vigraha form, we've got to feed them. That's our job. And I think that if everybody here understood that this temple was really struggling to put the minimum amount of offerings on, we would say, well, now this is something that must get done. Okay, fine. I'm going to jettison some things in my life because I'm going to participate in making sure that the fundamental worship of the deities are going on. It's important. Okay? There's other things that are important that take precedence over other things. So the more knowledge and awareness that we have of how important it actually is to have this strong presence online, then we'll start to adjust our priorities. And some things with busy people, you seem to be speaking from a position of knowledge as to having too many things to do that you can't accomplish everything each day, which is how I am also, and which is many of us are in that condition. And what that means is that when you decide to take on something, that means other things don't get done, and that's just the way it is. But this thing is so important for us that some other things aren't going to get done if those people that decide to pay attention to it start paying attention to it. I want to thank you very much for your kind attention.